Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kingdoms Timelapses Part 2. This is the second episode in quite a long series. I'm hoping it will be. I don't want it to be really short. This is a sneak peek at what I've built in this week's episode, including roads, waterways, not many roads, but roads indeed, waterways, and the stables. Now next to these stables are going to be the barracks. That's going to be in next week's episode. I also plan on using a different texture pack. I did originally start doing it with it, but it didn't look quite good, so I'm keeping with Auracraft. Hope you enjoy this week's episode. See you next week. Okay, so the first bit of the time lapse is actually making the main path that goes from one side of the walled kingdom to the other. So on either side of these walls will be one side the cathedral and the other side the castle, and then I'm going to make a small area outside for residential and kind of like posh areas, and then I might extend into more towns and more cities depending on how long I can be bothered with this, because it's quite a lot of work to edit it all and things like that. So I wanted to put like a kind of water way area, which you wouldn't go in, but it was almost like a drain, which you'll see me starting to build now. It was a little difficult because of the path. It was 3 wide in the middle and then 2 on either side, so in the end it was like a 5 wide path with the cobblestone on the outside. The waterway I had to kind of make into a small L shape, and these like arches below, which is above the water, are the drains, which I'm going to then thread through the castle and then into the river, through the walls and into the river. I have to confess it was quite difficult to use world edit on the water, not world edit, the bucket on the water, so I did have to in the end go for world edit afterwards, but mainly because I really wanted to get it finished so I could build the stable right at the end of the time lapse. So I really wanted to do that. So outlining the waterways, just in case no one knows to fall in. Now this is me building the gate. It's nearly identical to the one up the other end, which you didn't see me build in the other time lapse, so you're not missing out on anything. Unfortunately, because of the uneven fences which are holding up the roof on the wall, I had to change them around so they're not completely spaced out evenly anymore. So now we'll go on to the sacred fountain. This is this is difficult because I didn't know how I should portray it, whether I should have like a massive well, whether it should just be left as a waterfall going into a small pit, and I kind of left with that idea and maybe putting an underground waterway that linked up with the main ones, or an overground, and I decided with the overground, which you'll see me building here. Again, world edit for the waterway, and then world edit for the cobblestone outline, which was very lazy of me because I could have done it normally, but I really wanted to get that fence, the stables done, really wanted to do that. So now we move on to the stables, using the kind of darker wood for the pillars on either side, and then also using the dark wood to go around as a roof. I was originally going to leave it like this sort of roof with a glass top, but then I didn't quite like the texture at the top of the log, and it would be visible very slightly, so I decided to go over it in wooden steps, and then in the corners the slabs. And then glass on the top, and then you'll start seeing the stables being built. That's all of my narration for so far. Enjoy the time lapse. Remember, tune in for next week. It's going to be awesome. We're going to start building the barracks, and then maybe the week after that, the market, or that might be in the same episode as next week. See you next week. Bye.